Thanks. Thank you, Judy. So I work for the Anti-Defamation League, and I want to hear the speech you were going to give, because if that was your second speech after editing, that was right. I fight hate all day, and you like put out burning buildings, and you still gave a better ADL speech than I'm about to give. So thank you very much for that, and thanks to everybody. Mayor, thank you so much. Judy for planning this. Thank you, Becky, for hosting us. I really am going to only talk for just a few, probably less than a minute today. I am really heartened by everyone who's here today. You being here means a ton. And it isn't actually surprising. I work for ADL. I used to work in the Midwest. I've been working all over Connecticut. New Haven really is a special community. And actually, I read recently that it actually is, from a demographic standpoint, the community that most reflects the cities in the United States of America. Like, we are the symbol city. And so I'm not surprised you're here, but it also is incumbent upon us to show that kind of leadership. And I'm proud to be here with you trying to do that. At ADL, over the last several years, we have seen a meaningful, measurable spike in the number of reports of anti-Semitic incidents. I'm talking everything from Holocaust jokes, and I mean those are in every school. When we ask kids if they've heard a Holocaust joke, every hand goes up. When we talk about, swastikas and graffiti and desecration of buildings, we've got that here. We are seeing it against the Jewish community, against the mosque here in New Haven. We are in a time where there is a lot of hate activity, and things that were maybe under the surface are coming out. And we're seeing a proliferation of extremist activity. We are tracking a lot more activity. And close to home, we have attacks on our Orthodox community. Jersey City, Brooklyn, Muncie, New York. And I guess what I want to say is, and we've seen, we've been relatively physically safe here, thanks to great law enforcement and great community participation. But we've heard things that are threats, and we're dealing with them. But there's a few things we need to do, and while we don't all, we might not all wear a black hat or a long coat, at least in the Jewish community, we're feeling that we need really to unite, observant, unaffiliated, wherever you come in to the Jewish world. And Jews, as has been talked about already, Jews are just one part of this country, and non-Jews are also together with us in this fight, because we rise and fall together. And so I'll just leave with a few things. I think we have great leadership in Connecticut. Our senators, our elected officials, they show up. Our clergy, they're here. Our law enforcement, our firefighters, our people, our educators, they're here. We need to engage with them. We need to keep ourselves safe, and we need to get out of our comfort zones. I just want to talk about education, especially Holocaust education. We do a lot of that at ADL. We've trained over 1,000 teachers in Connecticut, and this year we met with all the New Haven social studies teachers to talk to them about teaching the Holocaust. Connecticut, as hopefully you know, thanks to people from Mike Bloom from JFACT and others, is one of 11 states that requires Holocaust and genocide education in our public schools. We got to get to the place in this country where all 50 states require that, and that all school districts have the right type of teaching, because we're seeing the wrong type of, maybe not teaching, but these kids see these lessons in lots of different ways. That's where these incidents come from. We often don't know how to process tough lessons like Auschwitz. This year, after some incidents at Amity School last year, we took a bunch of Amity students to go see an exhibit in New York City about Auschwitz. And they were Jewish and non-Jewish, and they formed a bond together. We need to be doing that kind of work all over the place. We can't do it alone. And so wherever you see a chance to learn about the Holocaust, learn about anti-Semitism or racism, and teach others, please just do it. If you're wrong, at least you started a conversation, because we're not talking to each other enough. And I'll leave with one thing. All the education that we do, is very important. But right now, the biggest thing I'm afraid of when it comes to the truth about the past is social media. Facebook has 2.5 billion monthly users in the world. And they maintain that Holocaust denial is okay on their site. How can that be? They're allowed to do it, I guess. It's free speech. But we need to speak loudly when it comes to that. I'm not saying we need to say that government necessarily, I don't want to get into government regulation, but I know that as users, when we see that stuff online, bring it to their attention. They will listen if it's enough of us shouting loud enough. Some of the other tech companies have done that, but all the education we're doing here in New Haven and around the country cannot overwhelm the mass denial that we're seeing online. And so please, if you have a way to do that, and I'm happy to talk to you about it later, please let's find a way to challenge the biggest voice in the world to use that voice better. Thank you for using your voice, and thanks for being here tonight. Thanks.